Hello Rhinos, what foods can you eat as a type 2 diabetic on a low carb diet? Let's get into it. Why am I qualified to talk about this? Well, in March 2018, I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and within 6 months, I managed to reverse my condition. And if I can do it, you can do it too. So let's get into this. What foods can you eat as a low carb diet? I want to just say something very quickly before we get into the video. Don't overcomplicate this, okay? I've seen too many people get into measuring and doing all this. You can really overcomplicate this situation and get yourself confused about what percentage of this food should I have, what percentage of that food. As long as you're eating real food, okay? So things that grow in the ground or swims in the seas or animal products or meat. You don't need to overcomplicate these things. And you don't have to go on a massive change of your diet either, okay? You know, the majority of us, what we do is we eat the same meals on a week in and week out basis, okay? I certainly did. What I did when I started on this journey, I made a list of all the foods that I eat. And then what I did, I identified the processed and high sugary foods, and I replaced them with foods which are on this list. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the description below. There's going to be a link to a website, and when you click on that, you can put your name and your email address in, and the magic of the internet will send you a food guide of a list of food, far more detailed list of foods that you can eat on a low carb diet. I hope you enjoy that. But for now, let's get into this. Okay, so we're going to split this into two groups. We're going to have animals and animal-based products, and we're going to have plant and plant-based products, and we're also going to be talking about drinks as well. Okay, so animals and fish are great. Things like chicken, beef, pork, you know, turkey. All of these foods are really, really good for you to eat. Why? Because they're very low carb foods with literally no carbs, and they've got vitamin B12 in, which is a great source of energy for yourself. So meat and fish, if you're so inclined, is a great product to have. When we talk about animal-based products then, your eggs, fantastic. Eggs are amazing. What can't you do with eggs? You can stick them in salads, you can have them in breakfast, you can scramble them, you can boil them, you can do all of those things. My favorite breakfast of the week is a cooked breakfast, and what I have there is bacon, eggs, and mushrooms. Oh, I love mushrooms. If you don't feel the same way, stick it in the comments below. I'd love to know how you feel about mushrooms. Okay, but I'm going to stick a video here about how to make an English cooked breakfast for a type 2 diabetic. Hope you enjoy that. So bacon, like I said, I've mentioned already, is a great one. You can eat that. It's got fat on it as well, so that's good for being on a low carb diet. Then you've got cheese and milk, dairy products. Cheese and milk are fine, but please make sure if you're going to eat cheese and milk that you have the full fat versions of them. Okay, yes, there's lots of different types of milk out there. You can get almond milk and all of these things, but you know, sometimes when you've got to be careful about these things, you know, so these derivatives of nuts and stuff, because as we're going to get on later, nuts are a good product, but too much of them is not good, okay, if you have too many of them. So milk, pretty much go for full fat. The reason being, if you go for a low fat option, what they tend to do is when you take the fat out of a product, it doesn't taste as nice. So what they do to make that product taste nicer, they put a form of sugar in there. Okay, they have lots of different names for sugar. So you know, just go full fat. If you're going to do it, go full fat on your dairy products. Yogurt as well, awesome. I love yogurt, full fat yogurt, love that. That's another great product you can have in the dairy category. So let's get on to plant-based food now. Okay, so plant-based food, I have some simple rules here. If it grows above ground, it's great, and if it grows grows below ground, then limit it. Okay, so things like cauliflower, asparagus, spinach, kale, lettuces, right? Courgettes or zucchinis, you might call them, marrows. These are great foods to eat. You can eat, they're full of low release carbs, okay? Definitely a great food for you to eat. You can pretty much eat as much as you want of those, and in combination you can do loads of different things with those as well. So but when it comes to things that grow underground, carrots, parsnips, sweet potatoes, these are really good foods, but you want to try and limit the amount that you eat of those. The things that you do want to avoid is white starchy foods. So you definitely want to avoid things like potatoes, pasta, rice. Don't get all mixed up into the whole grain option. They're still not great, okay? So look, instead of pasta, eat zucchini, courgette spaghetti instead, okay? Instead of rice, have cauliflower rice, which gets us on to the next one, which is bread. If you're going to eat bread, and you're going to have whole grain bread, that's better than eating the white bread. Have you ever wondered how bread manages to stay as fresh for as long as it does? I'll tell you exactly how it does it. Sugar, processed sugar, it's a preservative, it keeps it going for longer, but you want to avoid that. If you can eat bread, only really have 1 or 2 slices, and don't try not to eat it every day. Be very careful. There's some really good low carb breads out there now. And so if really I would eat low carb bread, then I would eat whole grain bread. It is better for you on your blood sugar. I found anyway when I tested it for my blood sugar. Test it for yourself. See what you think. When it comes to drinks, tea, coffee, green tea, water with lime, water with lemon, these are all great drinks to have on a low carb diet. They're really good to have. Nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds are great, especially as a snack, or if you want to put seeds in a salad or part of a curry or something like that. These are all good, but you've got to be very careful. So though they're really good foods to have, individuals, their carb counts are really, really low. If you have tons of them, they're not great, okay? You've got to be really, really careful. So, and when you have nuts, try to have dried nuts. Don't have nuts which are like salted or sweetened or got some sort of flavor in them. Stick them to dry nuts, walnuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, we call them in the UK. I know in Brazil you call them nuts. All right, so it's like, but all of these all nuts are a really good source, especially as a snack for you on a low carb diet. So then we come on to fruits. Controversial fruits, okay? I've had many people comment on different posts I've put up when I put up fruits here. Now, this is going to be an individual thing for you. This is why I said at the beginning, you need to test and you need to check your blood sugar as you go along. Like I eat fruit, I like pears. I love pears because it's a really good source of fiber as well. Apples, I like to eat. I love, you can eat cantaloupes, all obviously avocados, kiwi fruit. All of these are really good fruits that you can have. The only one fruit I do recommend you stay away from is bananas. Bananas, is worse than sugar for spiking your blood sugar. Not saying a banana is a bad fruit. It's just when it comes as a type 2 diabetic, you need to avoid it. It has a really negative effect. So fruit, yet again, test for yourself. Berries, I like berries with breakfast, full fat yogurt with berries on the top. I do try and have my fruit as early on in the day as I can. And then let's save the best to the last, dark chocolate. You can have dark chocolate. Try and make sure it's got 80% cacao in it. It is a quiet taste, but you do find that you get used to the taste, and you start as your taste buds get used to it, and it becomes a really good snack as well for you to have. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to stick another video here about foods you need to avoid as a type 2 diabetic. And remember, you're not a number. You're a rhino. no charge.